Okay, so as my recent Youmacon video has hinted, I'm a huge fan of anime. I've decided to do this thing that's kinda new, where I'll be rating anime dubs using a 10-point scale I've created to decide how good the dub is compared to the original. Now, keep in mind, this does not say anything about the actual quality of the show itself, nor does it indicate whether the dub is enjoyable or not. So with that, I will start explaining this scale for you. For starters, is the opening and ending left intact or dubbed in English? This is asking if the bits that play at the start and end of every episode are left intact. And keep in mind that you'll get the point if you either leave the Japanese songs in like they did with shows like Full Metal Alchemist and Inuyasha, or if the songs are dubbed into English songs such as Yu Yu Hakusho, Funimation's dub of One Piece, and Dragon Ball Z Kai. Or if you just use an instrumental of the song as seen for the endings of the Canadian dub of GT, but those are kinda rare. Now, on the other hand, the dub changes the theme songs to something that in no way resembles the original, like, well, everything 4Kids has ever done, then you don't get a point for this one. The next question that I ask is similar. Is the background music left intact? This means all the music that plays in the show. Is it in some way the same as the original? Now, keep in mind that I can be lenient in some ways here. If a vocal song is dubbed, that's fine. If the dub accidentally misses a music cue, fine. Just don't make it a habit. And even if a slight replacement occurs on rare occasion, I'll give them the point. What I don't approve of is an entirely new soundtrack, no matter how good some might think it is, or only keeping some music and replacing others, Pokemon, in the show. Examples of dubs that would get this point are Full Metal Alchemist, Naruto, Inuyasha, Death Note, and most others that have been within the last 10 years, really. Dubs that don't get the credit are Zatch Bell, both dubs of Pokemon, and everything 4Kids dubs. By the way, if you love to hear people bash 4Kids, you'll love these videos. Now, question 3 asks, is the dub free of sloppy or unnecessary edits based on network standards? Obviously, this one applies only to dubs on TV, and if the dub has never been on TV and is only being released uncut, then that's an automatic point. Dubs that would earn this point, 1, are anything on Adult Swim, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and plenty of others. Dubs that don't get the points are basically anything 4Kids dubs. I have very little tolerance for blank signs on buildings and editing stuff you don't really need to edit. Moving on! Next question. Is it free of heavy Americanization? This means that the show doesn't try to make pathetic attempts to cover up Japanese content for no good reason. Now keep in mind that I can be fair here. The plot itself has some heavy references to Japanese content that we wouldn't understand. I can understand changing it, or explaining it a little. But what I really look for is stuff that is food related. If there's a rice ball, you don't have to call it onigiri or something like that. But calling it a cookie or donut is not okay. And editing the visuals to match don't work either. Also with ramen, you can get away with calling them noodles, but spaghetti is not an acceptable alternative. Do I even need to say who fails the most in this case? Moving on to the 5th question. Is an uncut version available to the public in some way? This means that a visually unedited dub in the original Japanese version has to be legally available to the public either as a DVD, Blu-ray, or even streamed online, or in some other form. This one is pretty easy to get points for, and as long as the uncut version is being released in its entirety, or planned to, then no problem. And no, Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not get credit for giving us 3 DVDs. Had they continued that release, though, I would give them the point for this. But since they stopped, well, they're idiots for that. Question 6. Do we get good voices? No, you don't need to have a celebrity cast of big-name actors voicing the characters like the Miyazaki films do. You don't need to include Vic Mignogna voicing someone to get this point. In truth, I'm looking for a general, good-sounding voices for the characters. Ones that suit the characters, and not full of bad and unfitting accents being thrown in constantly. Now I can be reasonable here. If some minor character was miscast or given a bad accent, I can be lenient. But don't miscast main characters. Oh, and yes, you can give some accents to characters, just as long as they make sense. You know, like when Zatch Bell gave the Italian pop star Folgore an Italian accent. That's fine, because, you know, he was Italian and they gave him an Italian accent. Or if the Japanese voice had an accent and the dub mimics that accent. That's fine too. But what I don't approve of is accents that are offensive, unfitting, or just plain annoying. Like, for example, Sanji in One Piece, giving him a Brooklyn accent, I didn't get that at all. If they'd given him a French accent, then I'd be more understanding, but why a Brooklyn accent? Now, for 8, are no episodes skipped or merged for no reason? This means that no episodes get banned for any reason, and nothing merged for time. I don't need to explain further, do I? Number 9. Free of name changes? Not explaining, because we know who to point at in this one. And finally, is it watchable? Simple question. Is the final product something you can watch without being annoyed? This of course doesn't count if the original sucked. And if so, then the question is it worse? 4Kids doesn't get very many points on this one either. Now, keep in mind that just because a dub gets a perfect 10 doesn't make it better than the original. And getting a low score doesn't mean it's a bad show. Some dubs can be so bad that they're good, like Speed Racer and Shin-Chan, while others can be so good that they're dull. Though I can't think of any like that. Remember, this is just based on the dub's ability to be true to the original, and in the end, it's really just my opinion.